On this President's Day, nothing says remembrance and power quite like this.
President Donald Trump's mugshot was released the summer of 2023, right after he was arrested in Fulton County, Georgia. Remember?
At the time, Trump posted on Truth Social, "I'll be going to Atlanta, Georgia on Thursday to be arrested by radical left District Attorney Fani Willis, who's overseeing one of the greatest murder and violent crime disasters in American history."
That case melted away, but the mugshot did not. It was trotted around in the campaign as a symbol of defiance. It was also placed on mugs, t-shirts and other merch to fundraise. The president even recreated the expression from his mugshot for his official portrait, which was released ahead of last month's inauguration.
Now the framed mugshot can be seen hanging outside the Oval Office. So what is your opinion on it being in the Oval Office, Niall?
Well, you
that much.
You don't have strong feelings on it. I am against it, which you could perhaps have predicted, because of a specific reason, I think, that is part of Trump's approach, which is to try to invert reality or things that took place to his own advantage. So in this case, he was photographed in that way because he was charged with crimes. That case, I mean, we said melted away in the introduction. I mean, it got lost in the whole business of Fani Willis.
Fani Willis screwed it up royally, as badly as anyone has botched anything in human history, because she put her boyfriend in charge of handling the case.
Yes, but...
Oh, how sad.
Well, quite sad if you actually think it should be open to the President of the United States, or then President as he was, being charged with crimes for meddling in the election outcome in a key state, and in doing so depriving Georgian voters of their right to have the president for whom they had voted, essentially disenfranchising people who had voted for Joe Biden on that occasion. Now, the point is that the mugshot and the use of the mugshot in that way by Trump is really to suggest that, oh, that's no problem, I was only charged with crimes. It is somehow evidence of my righteousness that I'm charged with crimes. He is the only convicted felon to be serving as American president following the case in New York, and the use of the mugshot is just part of this attempt to rewrite history and to try to take things that were bad and potentially unlawful, the Georgia case never reached a jury, and make them into badges of honor. And I think that is a dishonorable thing to do.
Well, him being pursued in the way he was by so many different jurisdictions, all the charges did allow him to totally retain control of the Republican Party. If anything, I think it sucked the oxygen out of any of his rivals. Maybe DeSantis, and I think certainly Nikki Haley, but DeSantis was really the only one who stood a chance. Maybe they were all doomed against Trump, regardless of the circumstances, if he was really going to go for it again. But looked like he was losing a little bit of momentum until all of the charges started up, and then all Republicans rallied behind him again. So in that way, the mugshot is a reminder that this strategy allowed Trump to become more popular and central to the Republican Party than ever before, and has attracted somehow independents as well and made gains with all sorts of voters, and he's now more popular than he's ever been.
Yeah, but I don't think that it's only about the political or electoral implications, is my point. There were 4 criminal cases against him. One came to trial and he was convicted. The prosecutors secured indictments for all the other 3, and they did not go to trial, so they didn't have a chance to prove their case. In relation, and we've discussed this numerous times before, the Mar-a-Lago documents case, I think the evidence that he committed obstruction of justice was absolutely compelling, if not overwhelming, and his only real bid to get out of that would be to argue that the thing just didn't happen in the way the prosecutors had said. On the other end of the spectrum, I have said before that the one he was convicted of, the New York case, was, I think, the most minor of the 4, but he was still convicted by a jury of his peers. And then in the middle somewhere, I think you actually see the Georgia case as maybe the most serious of them all, but in the middle you've January the 6th, the federal case, and Georgia, and those were both very, very serious cases. And in Georgia, as you know, it was the accusation was a conspiracy by Trump and people close to him to pressure legislators to change their votes and things of that.
I continue to think that the exact right course of action for dealing with Trump's actions was what did take place swiftly after the events in question, was impeachment and a trial in the Senate to remove him from office, which he was victorious in. I think that is what fits his actions. It was conduct in flagrant abuse of office, a kind of conduct for which the Constitution's remedy is an impeachment process.
Yeah,
and
but
he was not removed from office on that basis.
Yeah, but hold on a second.
my view.
Even if one accepted that argument, which I don't particularly, I think he should have been subject to criminal prosecution. Even if one accepted that argument, it only really covered the events specifically around January the 6th. The impeachment process in that case was about the riot, ultimately. Now, the situation in Georgia and the Mar-a-Lago case were not about that. There was
that was Democratic's choice to rush it, to do it before the conclusion of his term, right? Before they had found more information to substantiate the earlier election stuff, right?
Yeah, but if they'd left it until he was out of office, then the remedy that you propose wouldn't have worked, right? So, I mean, the point about it is he never faced criminal trial on these charges in Georgia, on the obstruction of justice case in Mar-a-Lago, or on the federal January the 6th case. I think it is a shame that he didn't. I think that on the obstruction of justice one, I would bet money that he would have been convicted in that, but he would have got the right to try to rebut it if he wished. And all of this stuff just gets sidelined, and it becomes a badge of pride to have a mugshot in the Oval Office.
That does it for us today on Rising. Thanks for tuning in on this President's Day. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we're now available anywhere you can find podcasts. We'll see you tomorrow.